just like seeing her for the first time.
The protagonist was interested in the passive skill player's eye. It was pumped to the maximum level with the help of the player's eye. He gained the ability Tasi. The nature of everything now. He can collect and digitize all information. Noah can sense surveillance and track the invisible strand sitting on his shoulder. Looked at him and said that now he has become a real player. The protagonist asked if he knew this skill. He smiled and said, "Of course, it is something that only a player can have. Enemies hiding themselves with stealth or invisibility magic will be visually different to Hema. Faint outline will be visible around them." MC said that this is quite useful, and then a system window appeared in front of him which said that the minimap was unlocked. He asked in surprise. Minimap, his companion said that he could see everything within AM radius. Then a system window appeared, saying that he could see the desired target status window. The information that could be viewed depended on the target's level. Strand folded his paws on his chest and grinned, saying that there were more surprises. He had to look at the defeated ogre, using the player's eye feeder, which the protagonist did the necessary actions. The system window that appeared surprised him. He thought Thoth could see the target status. The shoulder blade ogre lives in the Thunder Mountains and is distinguished by its protruding shoulder blades smaller than normal ogres, in addition to having a gentler disposition. It is also weaker than other representatives. The protagonist said that this was impressive. He thought that he should check Professor H. Heil. After that he used his skill again, but the information was not yet available for reading. Hesed that the information was limited. Strone said that he could not obtain information about people much stronger than him. As his strength increases, so will the amount of information available for viewing after completing the real combat. Test rumors of him defeating an ogre were flying around the academy. Sitting in the courtyard, Jason looked at Thee's friend with a smile and asked how it felt to have everyone talking about him. He replied that he didn't know it. Was still new to him at that moment, and embarrassed. Girl approached him and asked if he was ruined, holding a bag in her hands. She said that he did amazingly in the third stage of the test. She then handed him the bag. Several other girls were standing next to her, and her friend also handed him a bag, telling him to eat it if he was hungry after that. The girlfriends awkwardly laughed and ran in the opposite direction. Then the protagonist turned to his bro Kevik Durant, holding out the bag, asked if he wanted some. He indignantly shouted that it was terrible and disrespectful to the girl, who overcame her embarrassment and packed him a snack. MC honestly doesn't understand why he's so worked up. He thought that by looking at his friend with the player's eye, he could see that he had high potential. He tested everyone in the academy for the past few days, and other than him, Mel was the only one with high potential. He then told his friend to try a little harder, and then he'd do well in the next test. Jason said that it was sudden, and asked if he'd warmed up to him. He said that he hadn't, and he just wanted to say that he had high potential. He had good skills, so all he'd had to do was get his confidence back and work harder. He asked, was that true? The protagonist confirmed it, and told him not to waste all his time playing games. The bro character agreed, and said that his next goal would be to get into the top. The protagonist said that would be difficult, and then Jason asked, was that really him? Sometimes it's hard to believe that. Protagonist asked, what did he mean? He said that he was just wondering if he was the same ruin he had came now and been close to for years. MC thought that even he found it hard to believe, and he could understand, then looked up at the sky, and his friend said that there had been some rumors about him lately that he would displace Melon to become not only the top graduate but also the representative of the academy. The protagonist stood up from the bench and said that he was not interested. He offered to go inside. Jason ran after Hyman, said in surprise, how could he not be interested? This year is the year of the Grand Festival. The Grand Festival, in the 5th month of each year. Representatives of Famousy gather together and determine the best among them, holding a magic festival once every 8 years. The Olympics are held where participants compete for the title of the best magician. The Grand Festival is the intersection of these two events. It is a national competition for the best students of the most Famousy. The winner of this festival, and the academy he represents, not only wrest huge cash prizes, but can also acquire various privileges. Therefore, there are limits on the number of participants one student for individual competitions for group competition, so a total of participants can compete from the academy, and the one who is chosen for individual competitions bosoms the representative of the academy. After some time, the students were talking among themselves. In the academy cafeteria, they assumed who would be chosen for the festival. Jason said that it would be Ruin. The others agreed with him, remembering when Mel participated in the magic festival Huas, the last in individual competitions 4 times out of 5. Because of him, they were dubbed the Last Academy. The Academy of Last Place, unable to perform well in either individual or group competitions. Jason continued to promote his friend. The others agreed with him, and the main character himself said that the exam was not over yet. He thought that it was too early to be confident and expect anything in the end. The participants of the Grand Festival are selected based on the results of the first semester exam, and the recommendation of the faculty. There is still the 4th stage. Ahead, a one-on-one battle against Mel, so he needs to focus on the next test. He couldn't think about defeating his opponent. After the combat test, Luin continued with determination, his body still bearing the fatigue of the earlier battle, yet his mind refusing to rest. He knew that the next task awaiting him was the completion of the mission that would add to his strength index. His heart pounded in anticipation, and soon after, the system's mechanical voice echoed within his mind. Cold, yet strangely satisfying. The system notified Luin that he had achieved power points, and at the same time he had officially received a title marking the end of his probationary period. For a moment, Luin stood still, realizing what those words truly meant. The long wait, the constant struggles, and the silent efforts he had endured. Finally, he had reached the point where the day he had been longing for had arrived. "I'm excited to finally be able to wait for this day," Luin whispered to himself. His voice trembled with joy, though his body was still exhausted. He could barely contain the eagerness inside him. Without hesitation, he opened the status page, and in a swift motion, he shifted into a jumping position, his body leaping lightly with a sense of renewed energy. On his shoulder, the page landed gracefully, clinging onto him as it always did. The strange creature remained faithful, ever feeding on the energy Luin created. Unlike before, something unusual began to happen. The page's body glowed faintly, and its very presence gave off a bizarre aura. Flames of energy began to radiate around it, flickering and dancing wildly, as if trying to announce the beginning of a transformation. Luin frowned, not understanding what was happening. His eyes followed the movement of the flames, his chest tightening with an unshakable tension. Then, like a spark of realization piercing through the confusion, something clicked in his mind. His breath caught, and before he could process it further, the scene shifted elsewhere. Far away, Professor Irit stood in silence, his expression shadowed with bitterness. His thoughts dwelled heavily on the fact that it had been his suggestion that pushed Luin to fight the goblins. He clenched his fists. If not for that, Luin wouldn't have gained so many points. That bitter truth gnawed at him, for indirectly, he had been the one to strengthen the boy. His eyes narrowed as a new thought crept in. Could Luin really defeat Emiko with his current strength? The idea seemed laughable at first, almost impossible. Yet the professor could not dismiss it entirely. If Luin somehow won, then Mike's position at the festival, along with his title as valedictorian, would be threatened. That would mean Garen's family, his own bloodline, would lose the right to lead the academy. For Irit, such a possibility was unacceptable. At any cost, his family must remain at the top. The scene returned to Luin. The notification system chimed once again, announcing his graduation from the middle school level. His reward was immediate, a significant increase in his strength stats. Luin's eyes widened as he saw the changes clearly displayed before him. Thanks to the transformation of the page, his strength index increased by several points, reaching a total of thousands. Trang, or the page, in its altered form, smiled smugly, almost mocking him. "This is only the beginning," it declared, its voice carrying an odd confidence. Luin listened carefully. The difficulty and rewards of the quests had already increased. Without wasting time, Luin immediately opened the mission system. His eyes scanned the new list of requirements: regular physical training, executing 2 types of kicks, punches, and spins 1,000 times, running kilometers every day, and engaging in actual combat practice. The reward, in return, was yet another increase in his strength index by hundreds of points, though the intensity of the mission had clearly doubled compared to before. Luin did not consider it to be too difficult. He had endured worse. But one phrase made him pause: actual combat training. He didn't quite understand what it entailed. Turning to Da Trang, he asked, "What does actual combat training mean?" The page's expression turned serious. "Do you remember the first time we met?" It reminded Luin, "I told you I could turn into anything. This time, it's not like before. I can transform, but with limits." Luin's curiosity grew. "Can you turn into a human?" he asked quickly. The page shook its head. At its current level, such a transformation was far too difficult. Not yet, it admitted. But to demonstrate, Da Trang's body suddenly shuddered. Waves of energy enveloped it, distorting its shape. Before Luin's eyes, its body gradually shifted into a new form, its small figure elongated, reshaping, until at last a scarecrow stood where the page had been. Luin blinked. For a moment, he thought it was strange, but he did not appear surprised. "A scarecrow," he muttered. The page grew visibly annoyed. "Don't underestimate a scarecrow," it snapped. "When Derricka first began training, I was his sparring partner. Which means, from now on, I'll serve as the target for your practice. You will train in actual combat against me daily. And remember, even in this form, my strength is only equivalent to that of a third-level mage. But when I regain my full power, I'll be able to transform into anything: a dragon, a demon, whatever I desire." Luin's eyes burned with determination. Without hesitation, he raised his fists. "Then let's begin right now. I want you to turn into a magician." Da Trang obeyed. Summoning a staff into its hand, it prepared itself. "Even if my attacks land, they will only cause shock, not real damage." "You won't be hurt," it reassured him. That was enough. Luin nodded firmly and shifted into a fighting stance. His entire focus honed in on the practice session, with a chant. The page conjured a massive fireball, sending it straight at Luin. Flames illuminated the training grounds as the blazing orb surged forward. Luin reacted instantly, dodging to the side. Their battle escalated, neither willing to yield. Luin's movements grew sharper, faster, his sweat dripping as he pushed himself harder. He knew his opponent was no ordinary creature, no easy product of magic. This was his trial. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the academy, Emiko entered Professor Irit's chamber. The boy's face was drawn with frustration, his mind consumed by thoughts of Luin. He wanted to discuss ways to defeat him. Professor Irit did not hide his disdain. His voice was harsh, accusing. "If you had been stronger, things would have been different. You're the reason Luin is gaining ground." Emik's jaw tightened. "Stop blaming me. I know the truth. Now you were the one behind the 3 leprechaun cases." His words cut sharply. The professor's face darkened. Emik continued, his bitterness surfacing. "If we had known this, I wouldn't have been the one to take all the blame. While you sit in comfort, I bear the weight of it all. My life has been made difficult because of you. You brat." Professor Irit roared, his voice echoing off the chamber walls. "How dare you talk back to me?" His rage simmered, but amidst his anger, a plan was forming. After a long silence, the professor smirked. "There is a way," he said at last. From his drawer, he revealed something carefully preserved. Emiko's eyes widened as he realized what it was. Natural awakening flower. A rare herb found only in the northern Illusion region. This flower could be crafted into special spirit pills, and once consumed, it would forcefully awaken the body, shortening mana casting time drastically. However, the side effects were brutal. Loss of pain, sensation, and an inability to differentiate between friend and foe. The body would feel nothing, neither agony nor clarity, only raw, uncontrollable power. Emiko froze. "You want me to drink this? Are you insane?" His voice shook. Professor Irit leaned closer, His face twisted in a sinister grin. You lost to that boy once. Do you want to tarnish your family's name again? Or will you rise to reclaim what is rightfully yours? Fear flickered in Emiko's eyes. The risk was immense. If discovered, he would face ruin. But Irit only smirked wider, patting his chest with confidence. Do not forget who I am. Drug testing is my specialty. No one will ever trace it back. To us from within his robes, the professor produced a small bottle of medicine. This will erase the traces. Use it wisely. His voice lowered, cold and commanding. The Garen lineage must remain supreme. That is the only way forward. Decide now whether you will rise or fall, whether you will even have the right to marry into power. Emiko's hands trembled as he accepted the bottle. His thoughts swirled. Doubt, ambition, and fear collided within him. The question echoed relentlessly in his mind. Should he, or should he not,